have a gun. I don't even have a gun, man. And I know so many Democrats, Republicans that have guns. But the thing is this: what about all the bullying? I was picked on in school so bad, you know, and I went home and I cried. And I said, what about, and I've done tons of counseling, bro. I've been in the military, I served.
What's your name?
I'm Tim Martin. I just don't understand.
Well,
and then,
let me start off by just
Publix. I used to work at Publix, man. They give away so much.
Yeah.
They give away so much money.
Yeah.
But and why go into the business? I just don't understand. Why are we not talking about like
Well, I want you to know.
mental health? Like these kids get picked on in cyberbullying. I would not even want to be a kid. Now I have a son that's 4.
We'd love for Adam Putnam to talk about mental health.
What's that?
We'd love for Adam Putnam to talk more about mental health
and
needs.
Also, why did I knew my parents to this day still talk about how they always got called to the principal's office. You know,
And I want you to know.
I'm shaking. I'm going to work. I got so many people that go to work, and I talk to kids, and they're like, "Look, we want to move on. We don't want to forget it." And I'm not asking to forget it. It's horrible, and it sucks that it hit right here because in Parkland, everybody thinks we're untouchable. I'm born and raised in Coral Springs. I've seen the demographics change. I mean, it's just amazing, and I'm shaking because I wake up and I put the news on, and I hear. I'm sorry, I'm not bashing you all. But the focus is, I saw another stat about the children, you know, about
4 kids have died.
yeah, exactly. Like you talk about suicides and these kids, what they go through.
And I want you to know, we're working towards behavioral intervention programs and mental health care funding. I tried securing $2 million for that in the form of federal grants when I was in DC last Tuesday. I spoke with over 20 congressmen, the minority speaker, many Republicans just refused to speak with me. I spoke with 2 senators, though, about getting more mental health care funding and preventing suicide, because that is a huge aspect of this that we also have to work towards.
Yes.
The thing is, a lot of the time in the media, what makes the headline is just gun control, because they get better ratings when people disagree with us. And that's one component of what we're advocating for. And I understand that I agree, we do need guns to rebel against the tyrannical government should it occur. But I think that we need to make sure that we are enabled, that people that are mentally unstable, like Nicholas Cruz, should have never been able to get a gun. And I can tell you right now, if he had to get training with that weapon, he wouldn't have lasted 1 minute. Exactly. And that's what we're advocating for. We're not trying to take anyone's guns away, and the only people that are saying that are the people that want to make money off of other people that falsely like quotes. Can I just hug you?
Yeah,
like,
yeah, man, definitely. This is just like, I hear police officers, I hear detectives.
Yeah.
They're like, oh my God, these kids are being taken advantage of. Because you're right, it all gets out to about the NRA and this. Thank God. I mean, I haven't done all my research.
The NRA is one component. But like,
to my knowledge, thank God they try their best, because imagine if they didn't have that, or didn't have people talking about guns and how to use a gun correctly.
Yeah, exactly. You know? And that is the good component of the NRA. What I wish we could do is split the NRA into 2 different organizations. One that is for gun safety, and the other one that is the bad part that we are advocating against, which is the lobbying part. That you know that they actively lobby to prevent people from using your universal background checks. They actively lobby against EPROs, which are extreme risk protection orders, which are a system where somebody like Nicholas Cruz, if they had these laws in place, a judge would have been able to take his guns away through due process.
And I totally get it. But what about this?
Hello.
Hey man, I need a gun. Just like the guys now, because you can't go on the public and say, hey, I want some crack, I want some coke. They're gonna go to the street. The guns are on the street. You just look, and you just hear about almost every week now there's a shooting down in Miami.
Yeah.
You know?
It's unbelievable.
But that's the thing, is, okay, so you do background checks, you do this and
But how many of those are also from homes where guns weren't properly secured
that's
in the home? That's a contributing factor of why there's guns on the street.
Who has a gun that doesn't have enough common sense to you have it put away safe?
Honestly,
you know, my roommate,
he's
got his gun on him all the time. He works on the streets, but he's got different safes. But then again, just like probably most people, they have a gun ready in their house, because guess what? These guys don't care. Just the other day, right here in Parkland, people's car got their car stolen from their house. You know, what happens? They came inside the house. He's got a family. Yeah. You know, who keeps an unloaded gun? Who keeps a gun? At least one gun, I would think that's okay. If I have a gun for protection, I'm pretty sure I'm not going to have it in a safe. But then again, I'm also going to have it in an area that I know about. I snooped around my parents'
Have you
house.
ever followed what the NRA has lobbied in Tallahassee for
truthfully,
some of the
not
bills?
everything.
So I'm a social worker. One of the bills actually that the NRA lobbied for is that social workers, mental health counselors, doctors were not able, if you came in and you were emotionally distraught, as a physician or a health practitioner, you would not be able to ask you, do you, and we knew that the person was unstable, do you have a gun? Is it kept securely? I just recently took a gun away from a friend of mine who her ex-partner was on her deathbed. And she was emotionally thinking about suicide. I went over, I removed the weapon, I locked it in my filing cabinet at home. I'm not a gun lover. I took an NRA course when I was in the Boy Scouts. I loved shooting rifles. Handguns I don't like. But I kept that gun in my household where I didn't want a gun around because I realized she needed it for her safety. But a doctor, until the Florida courts struck down that law, weren't allowed. There are so many other things. A child care worker,
I'm
child
glad
care
I'm
worker
coming here
placing
and
a
talking to you. This is
child
what we
in
need to
foster
do.
care
I know.
can't actually say to a foster parent, do you own a gun in the household? Can you just please show to me how you store it? That is forbidden still today by state law because of the NRA. These are the policies that the NRA pushes. So when you hear the NRA being pushed against, it is policies like these that are just common sense. Would you want to be fostering a kid or having a foster kid grabbing a gun who is already being thrown around through different homes and dealing with emotional issues?
No, as a human, as a person with some type of common sense, that doesn't make sense. You know, you scratch your head.
And that's what we're advocating for, is common sense. What happens
That's
though is-
why I said I
and-
got up. I said I try to keep an open mind, not that I'm right or to the left.
And what we're talking
you know,
about-
to say it's just because I've had AD. I've been diagnosed having ADD when I was in kindergarten. They didn't even pass me to go to first grade. I went to pre-first.
I went
you know,
to pre-first
they,
too.
They would. Yay! They put you on Ritalin, this and that. Then, I guess my parents asked me, "Do you want to be on Ritalin?" I don't know how I made that decision when I was in third grade. But I've had a lot of
It's so
struggles,
great.
addictions,
It goes kindergarten, pre-first, first grade.
Yeah.
I don't think
They
I
put
was
me in
ever a
because they said I
follower.
was too like
but
imaginative and shy.
suicide.
Is that
Because
self-
I
I
became
can't
an artist,
imagine
so
now
it's
the
like,
pressure.
I don't know. I guess it is a self.
What a girl has to go
Today you
through,
could sort of get
especially in
And
high
that's the
school.
other thing that we're
Yeah,
advocating
that's
for.
why
I just
like,
don't think that. I just don't want
I
people to
went
use as
art school
puppets.
for college.
You know, and then
I
I
wish
think
I was a
you are.
Understand that. Like
Sorry, we're
we are
live.
doing all of this ourselves. Honestly, it would have been nice if there were people coaching us, but they're not, because we told all of them to fuck off. Because all the adults,
You know, and
their inaction is what's gotten us here. When somebody came to us and offered us $500,000 in the march, this happened multiple times. I either hung up on them or I literally told them to fuck off. Trust me, this is us that are leading this.
We're not doing anything for anybody else.
I'm not getting paid.
And if
I
I
can't-
lost,
We're not getting paid.
No, and if I lost somebody, or my son or daughter, it's easy for anybody else to talk something if it doesn't happen to them. Like, I'm sorry about your breakup with your girlfriend. You don't know what it's like. My girlfriend broke up on Christmas. Years when I was in high school. A lot of stuff happened in high school. And I was Terravella in 97. 97 I graduated. So it's like, I'm trying to think. I get a little ramble just then. So if I had lost a loved one, and even also a friend, you know, I'd be out there definitely talking about the mental health aspect.
And that's
It
what
just sucks how it got blown up to where it's all about guns. And then because then I'm trying to work on Hamburg, and I hear them marching, and my boss is, I can't get by because they're marching. And I did the same thing. I drove up and I walked up calmly to them, and then they started bashing me. I said, listen, what about mental health? What about mental health? I'm all, okay, we take away all the guns.
which is not what we're advocating.
But that's how a lot of other,
Yeah, like
and the marches and
Have you-
whatnot, they didn't take, or people didn't take the time to do what they're doing now. You know what? Come over and talk.
yeah.
Find out what's really going on with everything. Because, we could, then I could see how somebody could say, well, take the focus off the NRA. Oh, he just got beat because he didn't know all the facts. Now they're going to throw something else out there.
And the misinformation that the NRA spreads about me on a daily basis is what caused this divisiveness. And that's not American. That is not what's going to solve this. What's going to solve this is conversations like this, where we speak, we work together. We're going to have our
And that's
disagreements. It's fine.
and as I say on a little side note, that's why everybody's so against. I said I don't agree with everything he does, but like with Trump, I'm not trying to make it a Trump thing. I'm just off the side note. It's just that there's been so much on both sides with everybody, with people up there and that don't go to work every day, that don't look like this, and that they are set in their ways. And there's got to be a change. I'm definitely all for that. I'm definitely like, you know what? You guys have gotten away with privileges and stuff and just said lobbyists.
and they-
How is that fair?
Yeah, like Nancy Pelosi has been in
The
power
people's
forever,
voice.
and they've allowed these things to continue.
And that's,
Democrats were in control of the House,
That
and this
was,
shit
and that,
continued down.
I said, no, change something, but that was something that hurt me. I'm working on this house. I have actually the TV on. It was Fox News, and then after Trump said, "Listen, North Korea, it's all poker." You know, I was in the military. I understand how things get done to an extent, like a little bit above what we think. You know, there's information we're told and we're not. It's like a poker game. Look at this freaking dictator. And for Nancy Pelosi to go out there saying how Kim Jong-un should be happy, right? It's miscontext, but whatever she said about that, I said, even if I was a Democrat, I'd call him. How could you say something like that? Oh, it's a victory for him. Whatever. Then the context is taken out of place a little bit. But I was like flabbergasted that she could go up there and say something like that, but yet she wants us to, change and for us.
That's what I'm advocating for, working together.
Ah,
It's
man, I'm
like-
glad it came down, man. Because
Yeah.
I said,
We are happy to have you.
it just,
It's the divisiveness that the media drives a lot of the time, because it's.
gosh.
Just think about it. If there's a kid that looks like he's trying to take everybody's guns away, that's going to get way more media attention, and it's going to get them a lot more money. And that's not at all
Look
what
how they
we're
walked
advocating.
away.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't a big
I know.
blow-up feud.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I
It
mean,
wasn't sexy. It doesn't get clicks. But these are the conversations that we need to be having
Mhm.
across the country, and that's what I'm in.
Because there's a lot, like my boss, I know if he came over here, he see it a different way.
Yeah.
You know, and maybe that's why, because I just text him and says, well, let me know how it goes.
Yeah. And post about this on Facebook. Like,
Yeah,
honestly.
I think it's cool.
I
as
try
hell
to
that you
stay,
came over
I
here.
try to like stay off that stuff because I said one thing gets around and it gets turned around. And look what happened at Ely yesterday.
And you want to talk
And
about
then you had
Oh,
another
yeah.
school, the kid, he says he's just not coming to school on one of the days, and all of a sudden they said, oh, they started saying that he was gonna shoot up the school or something. Some kid.
They
was
reported
killing-
yesterday, last night, though,
Killing
that was a
crazy.
misunderstanding.
Exactly.
And they locked down the
That's how
school
that
in
shit
error.
spreads.
And we, on the
Yeah.
media, we have to
Yeah.
we have to do a better job of not making these people into celebrities that I've been working on with Facebook and Google to basically make the images blurred whenever they show up of these shooters and change their names to like shooter number 1.
And then that thing out in Texas, and from what the description was, even from a girl, and the people said that the news people said, wow, your description of him sounds like he was a sweet guy. Like I have had classes with him. It wasn't like because Sunday morning they had obviously Oliver North, who's going to be the future president of NRA, and then Kathy Griffith's husband, who's the advocate, and he was saying, okay, well, we need to have all these different checks and whatnot. So the host said, well, what happened in this case in Texas? There was nothing on the radar for him. He wasn't a troubled kid.
And that's why we advocate for what we try to advocate for. Kids, like, they aren't going to be able to go out. Like, Nick Cruz wouldn't have had the ability to go out and get their gun, like, behind a Publix or something. He was able to do it because legally it's easy.
Okay. I mean, I said I need to do more research on it too.
Like
but
that, I can tell you right
gotta
now,
do
if
everything
arming
we can.
teachers worked,
no, of
if
course
army
not.
teachers
If I'm a
work,
teacher,
I
I don't
would
want to
be
have the
all for it.
responsibility.
Exactly. I would be all for it. I just
I
want to
couldn't be a
The
teacher
teacher said so.
because like that, what just happened out there in West Boca yesterday at the high school. The kid, I guess, turned off the oven in a home ec class, and the female teacher, started hitting them in the shoulder or something. And I
They're
think,
crazy, yeah.
I couldn't be a teacher.
Teachers are humans.
It was bad
too.
before. That's why I
Everybody
always try to
can-
thank teachers. Like, thank you for what you do, especially in high school, because I know what I did in class. And I'm like, I don't have the patience to be a teacher. But the arm room and the gun, heck no, because it'd probably be the teacher now.
I got a
shooting.
drone. I called him.
No, I think they're surveyors. They do a lot out there. But as I said, I think like a teacher, just like you hear about a postal worker, I think a teacher having a gun, not a good idea. Let them, no way, because
Could
they
be
might,
traffic. too.
they might snap.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't see how anybody can support that.
And I'm for anything that will.
Why don't we have